Hi guys, so my name is Anna, as you've just heard, and I have this really audacious statement. I think crowdfunding is going to change the world. So that's what I'm going to talk about. It's basically what my entire presentation is, that and a few funny stories. But I thought that I probably should start by actually explaining what crowdfunding is, because I'm thinking a few of you in the room might have never heard of it before. So crowdfunding came from the idea of crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing was a term that was coined in 2006 by John Howe in Wired magazine, and he was looking at specifically through the lens of stock photography. And the idea used to be, you'd be a stock photographer, you'd sell it for a photograph for $2,000 or more, and you were the professional who was in charge of that. Then iStock photos came along, and a lot of amateur photographers were able to sell their photos for a lot less money, so it totally changed the cost model around stock photography. So I have a crazy idea. I just told you what crowdsourcing is. Now I want you to all stand up. Stand up, stand up. Now, pretend I'm a masseuse. There is no way I could give all of you in this room a massage, because, you know, it'd take days and physically impossible. So turn to your left. And give the person next to you a massage. Yeah. Okay, now you can turn the other way and give the other person a massage and say thank you. Yeah, cool. Okay, now you can sit down. It's been a big day, I thought you needed that. But, so, that probably wasn't long enough, I'm sorry, but I've only got 18 minutes. But that's crowdsourcing. That's the idea of giving the power to the crowd and getting them to do something. You know, maybe it's not the same level of professionalism as a professional masseuse, but you know, you still got something out of it and you still enjoyed it and you reciprocated back. So that is crowdsourcing. So what's crowdfunding? Crowdfunding is the idea that you can do that with money. So you bring money into the equation and you say, hey, I'm a band, I need $2,000 to record my next album. I don't have $2,000, so I am going to go to my crowd and ask them to pre-buy my album for $20, or get them to buy a ticket to my concert, or to, you know, for $100 maybe I could record their favorite song and put it on YouTube, even if it's not my genre. And so that's what crowdfunding is. It's having a set idea, a set goal of the amount of money you need in the timeline, and you can put it up on a platform and make it happen. Crowdfunding is a young industry. It's just really been formed. So the first major website was Kickstarter, the granddaddy of crowdfunding. They launched in April of 2009. But it's not just young in terms of being relatively new as a idea, but it's also the people using it are very young. This was one of the groups that came through our platform. It was a group of 10 and 11-year-olds called Deception, and they just wanted to go to the world supremacy battleground in Sydney. They're a hip-hop group. And so they went on and they managed to fund the cost to fly over to Sydney thanks to their dance teacher. So, and a few more people in their crowd. But it's also growing. It's crazy. There's over 300 crowdfunding platforms worldwide now. And there's 100 ready to launch tomorrow as soon as this equity crowdfunding comes into play. And it's not just growing in the number of platforms or the amount of money that's being raised. Last year, Kickstarter raised $100 million for 27,000 creative projects. So it's not just growing in size, it's also growing in the size of the projects that are going up. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Amanda Palmer from Dresden Dolls. So, yeah. So she decided to leave her label. She was over her label, and she decided to go to her crowd. And so she said, you know, normally it would cost $500,000 to record and distribute my album. I want to do this for $100,000, and I'm going to get my fans and supporters in on that. And so she raised $1.2 million from 25,000 of her supporters to make her album happen. And so it's giving that power, and it's a disruptive innovation, a disruptive technology. It's a new way, and sorry, I get really excited about this, but I truly believe that technology is going to enable change, enable the future. So this is my favorite crowdfunding story. It's Bear Love Good, Cancer Bad. The Oatmeal. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of The Oatmeal. He's an illustrator, cartoonist. He got into a very tricky situation where someone had stolen his illustrations, and they were posting them on the web, and they weren't referencing him. So he wrote a very angry blog article about that. And the website set their lawyers on him and said, you have to pay us $20,000, defamation, all that. And he was like, no, I'm not going to pay you $20,000. I am going to raise $20,000 for the Wildlife Association and the Cancer Society. I'm going to name it bear love good, cancer bad, I'm going to take a photo of the $20,000 and draw a picture of your lawyer's mother with a Kodiak bear. And I'm going to send that to you. And so he did, and he raised on a crowdfunding platform within 64 minutes, he hit his goal, and in the end, he raised over $200,000. So that's just another random application of crowdfunding. So it's the idea that you can be a little crazy with it. You know, it doesn't have to be your normal sort of project. You have to bring life and fun into it. And we had a band come through, Mangle and Gruff, and they had these crazy rewards that they were offering their crowd. It was everything from their lead singer would read you a bedtime story to a calendar of their guitarist, 12 Months of Will. And then my favorite was, for $1,000, they would create a religion based around you. And someone pledged that. Yeah. So you do have to keep it a little bit balanced, though. You know, you can't make these big, hairy, audacious goals without being able to back it up. So you need to plan, you need to be able to say how you're going to do it. You need to explain that well so people believe that you can. But that brings me to why me? Why am I talking about this to you right now? And I, for all of my sins, decided to go back and study. And I did my master's thesis on crowdfunding. And my thinking was, you know, I wanted to look at the history of crowdfunding. I wanted to look at where it was going, but I also wanted to look at the opportunities within New Zealand. And so as part of my thesis, I actually ended up starting a crowdfunding platform. So that's why I'm telling you all my crazy stories. The thing that came out of that, though, and as you can hear, I have an accent, so it seems a little bit crazy that I'm saying we should focus locally, but I believe that in order to make change, you have to know your community. So it can't just be an online platform, it has to be an offline community as well. So making a change locally is really important, especially in New Zealand. During my thesis, I found a really cool, it's probably not that cool for you guys, but I found a paper that the Statistics New Zealand had done where they actually proved there's only 4 degrees of separation in New Zealand. So really everyone does know everyone. And that's a good thing with crowdfunding because you want to know who your crowd is and be able to tap into them. Some people dream of great accomplishments while other people stay awake and do them. I think that is amazing. And I think that that is the idea of crowdfunding as well. It's the idea that, you know, you can take something that you've been thinking about and actually do it. And you can move beyond introspection to collaboration. I think collaboration is the new black. It is so important, and crowdfunding lets you do that. They let you collaborate with your crowd. They let you work with your crowd. So I didn't just want to talk about the history of crowdfunding and cool things that I've seen. I actually wanted to give you a few tips as well, just so you can know what makes a good crowdfunding campaign. Keeping it clear. It sounds simple, but it's actually quite hard to keep it clear and get it across to your crowd. So you need to know what your idea is. You need to know what your goal is. You need to be able to convey that to them. And you need to have some images, a video. We find that projects with videos are 114% more likely to be funded. So you need to engage and keep it personal, because people are giving as much to an idea as they are to you. Know your crowd. So this was a 7-piece girls band called St. Rupertsburg. Already pretty much a crowd themselves. But they knew who they were talking to, and they were able to talk to their fans about what they wanted to make happen. And they managed to raise their money in less than a week. Bearing in mind, the first person in your crowd is probably going to be your mother. So pick up that phone and tell her what you're doing. And it shouldn't just be an online thing. It shouldn't just be social media. You know, making that personal connection with people and calling them is really important. Updating your crowd. So it's sort of like going out on a date. You need to woo them a little bit before you get anything out of them. So you need to take them along for the journey, and you need to keep them updated. This project was a woman who wanted to go over to the UK and be in a cabaret show. So every day she took pictures of the outfits she was thinking about wearing. Which one do you think she picked? It's the saucy little red number on the left. But she kept them updated, and it wasn't just an ask for money, it was an ask to share on her project. It was an ask to talk about it, to give ideas on what she should wear. So it's a lot more than just the funding. Be different. As I said at the start, be a little crazy, be a little quirky, bring your own personality into it, and be prepared to change along the way as well. So this was a project, Road to Ruin. It was a young filmmaker down in Christchurch, and she just wanted to make a documentary on the first fully tattooed woman in New Zealand. And she during her crowdfunding campaign, had said she wanted to get it for the voiceover costs. She wanted to get a voiceover artist in to make her documentary with her. And people kept on coming back and saying, you don't need a voiceover artist. You actually did that really well in your pitch video. So we're going to pledge, but we don't want you to use the money on that. You should use it on something else. And in the end, she managed to double the length of her documentary with the funding instead of getting a voiceover artist. So that was very cool and very different. And saying thank you, an attitude of gratitude, is priceless. So this was an illustrator. She just wanted $300 to go to an illustration course in Auckland, and she managed to get it within 12 hours, mainly because she was so grateful. And she had really cool rewards around it as well, but at the end she just posted that to all of her supporters, and that really made a difference. So attitudes are contagious. Are yours worth catching? I think, if I'm allowed to have 2 quotes to explain crowdfunding, I think that's the other one. You have to be passionate about what you're doing. You have to be able to explain it. But at the end of the day, how you see it working and how you see yourself is really what everyone is going to take out of it. So, you know, you have to be that passionate person talking about what you're doing. And I truly believe this because I'm really passionate about what I'm doing. And so Pledge Me, we've got a team of people working behind us, and we've done some really great things. And this year we actually, well, we relaunched, and we've had 156 projects funded through us, over $675,000. And yeah, if I could leave you with anything today, I think it would be to think about that one idea that you have that you've always wanted to do, and now figure out how you can make it happen. Thank you.